Welcome, it's SVPod with Stanford Steve. I am Scott Van Pelt. We got the final set, the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Edmonton and Florida. We've got the final set in the NBA, which is going to get going in mid-August. It's Dallas and Boston. Let's begin, though, with a much more important update, life updates from the weekend.
Oh, man.
Text thread with the group. There was a picture that was sent from the big man midday Sunday.
You didn't get the video?
It was a video.
Yeah.
It was not a photo. It was a video. There was how many
13 8-year-olds.
13 8-year-olds on the back porch of the Coughlin estate. How'd it go?
We got there. I will say this. No, because now, like, you got to, the worst thing you want to do is not know something about, one of the kids coming to the party. So I'm like, hey, is everybody good? Sugar? Like, everybody can have everything, right? Because, peanut allergies, everybody's got something going on.
Hey, who wants a peanut spread?
Yeah. So we got there, we had pizza, and then the dessert started. And I could tell some people don't have sugar at home. And when I say sugar, I'm talking cookies, cake.
Or unlimited access to sugar.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And the idea of wife cutting the cake, I'm bringing the plates out, and girls looking up at you with a whole piece of cake in their mouth asking if I can have seconds and thirds. I'm like, until it's gone, you can eat whatever you want.
Right. Your mom didn't tell me that there was no salary cap on the cake. Have at it.
And it's just, there's cookies too. Oh, there's brownies too.
Yep.
Eat them all. And then it was just an all-out. We had the cornhole out. Shout out to Finley. Got it on her first toss. She got $1. Nobody else did.
Wait, you were handing out cash prizes?
I had to do something, Scott. It was just maniacal energy. It somehow turned into a relay race around the cornhole game.
Okay.
That's where we got to. And finally, thank you to the parents that came a little bit early. And then we started to wind down, and we got there. Thank you, everybody, for
13 8-year-olds, unlimited cake and cookies, and
a 4-year-old that's mine,
and cash prizes. It's like the Price is Right.
Keep them occupied. It was awesome.
That's fantastic.
Very fun.
What
I don't know about fun.
What's a drink? Do we go? Is it like soda? Is it Capri Sun? Is it juice boxes? Is it what?
We did the mini water bottles
naturally,
which still no one finishes.
It's
finish
amazing.
Your water. No one finishes it.
No, it's like a sip.
Then we had the Kool-Aid juice boxes for when the food started.
Love that.
And those were just massacred.
What was the food? The pizza?
We did the pizza.
Okay.
Yep. We did pizza. We had snacks out we did a little sand art. Then we did bingo.
Sand art?
Yeah. That thing, you know what it came in handy for the back deck? The leaf blower.
I was going to say, wow.
That 2 seconds. You want to see sand go away? Thank God for the leaf blower.
That's awesome.
So there's activities. It was game-based.
Okay.
Cece made the family wear pink. So we had pink and white.
Happy birthday, Cece. When did people become peanut intolerant? Because when I was a little kid, we'd chop them up and snort lines of them. And I just don't know when this happened. Like, people
I just
are
feel
allergic
bad because it's one of the best things in the world.
Right. When did this happen? When did we become as a people, as a society, intolerant to the peanut? I don't know. There's all these allergies now.
Yeah.
I just think, look, we do your best. Naturally, you want to find out, hey,
correct.
Is Keegan's okay? Is Matilda all right? Like, we don't want anybody catching a bad one on a birthday party.
No.
But at the same time, like, you gotta when they show up, there needs to be like a little. You should have to wear like a little button that says "Can't have this," because how do I know?
Yeah, keep me away.
We're going to do our best. Sand art though, and cash prizes. That's fantastic. And CC had a blast.
Oh God, yeah.
Way to go.
First one to sleep. Thank God.
Shout out to the Broncos. Won their flag football title. Beat the Raiders.
Title.
Yep.
Is that back to back?
Well, little guy won one in the fall.
Oh, little guy won.
Yeah,
okay.
and
so we got competing.
No. Charlie's good. He was on the playground, not interested. Although I got to tell you, my little guy, Shout out to the Commanders. They're the older guys that won a flag star title. And my guy Charlie, he's a kindergartner. All these kids are like 8th graders. Every one of them walks over and daps up Charlie. They come over to him. I'm telling you, he's the coolest kid. He's like, all of them. And they just give him all that. And it's not like they're patronizing. They come dap him up. I don't know. I don't understand what his deal is. That guy is going to run the world or something. But they all came over and showed. I said, Charlie, who are all those guys? He said, those are my friends. It's the Commanders. I'm like, okay.
Hey.
But shout out to the Broncos. They got a win. Had to avoid a pass. Coach Matt for the Raiders, really good. And a little guy called Cooper Kupp on the other team. He was running a little corner. Had him, just missed him. Would have been like last play of the game. If he caught it, would have been they'd have won.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was drama. Standing room only.
How many points won the game?
I think the final was
40s.
No, it was, I mean, there's not a lot of stops.
Yeah.
The actual, if you get a flag of a moving target, like that's an art to itself. Not a lot of flags were got in this game. High-level execution.
Couple quick slants and gone.
Shout out to the late, great Coach Mike Leach. Just run mesh, run a lot of crossing routes.
There you go.
They confused little kids. That's what he said. That's what he told our guy Feldman.
Yeah.
Run crossing routes. It confuses little kids. A lot of mesh. A lot of mesh. And
gotta have that eye candy.
Then someone's wide. So that's had a piano recital. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I buried the lead there.
Wow.
Big weekend for Sam. He has a little bit of his old man. I think I've described this. I used to have like a phobia of public speaking.
Oh.
Yeah. Had to do the itsy bitsy spider in like kindergarten. I got it in front of a group of people. I'm like, nope. And I just ran. He's fleeing the interview. I just left.
Talk about overcoming demons. Look at you now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Could do it.
Well, my guy got up in front of a room full of people he didn't know, told him what song he was going to play, started playing, messed up, kept on going. I said, buddy, that's awesome. A, you got up and did it. B, you didn't play your best, but you didn't, before he would have just dissolved, just would have punted.
Mm-hmm.
Kept on trucking. Maybe not all on tune. Everybody, polite applause. You got to the finish line.
See, I love that because
what
we were talking the other night. What do kids need more of? Adversity.
Yep.
They need it.
Got to overcome
it. He faced it right there with all the lights on.
Stared it down.
And kept going.
Yep.
Need that.
Also, there might have been a carrot hanging at the end of the pole that, what was it? Probably could get some new Under Armour sneakers.
There we go.
My wife said he has more shoes than me. I'm like, it may be true. But
I'd call Mom out on that one.
My man's got a lot of shoes.
All right.
Not as many as you, but we hit the order button. Going to get some, I think it's some Velcro curries for the summer.
There we go. I got some curries. They're good.
So it was a big weekend. Recitals, flag football, a lot of stuff happening.
Yep.
Birthday party at the house.
Yeah.
All right.
Survive.
And we got meets coming up. Swim meets coming soon.
Yep.
So don't worry. Your number one space for summertime dad pod content right here. But we do have finals.
Mm-hmm.
I want to start with the hockey because it's the most recent that we got.
How good was that last 3 minutes? Last night.
The Stars, I always say you can't fake desperation. They played with the desperation of a great team. They had so many chances. Robertson he's 5 seconds left. He's in the middle of the ice on his own. I don't know because I don't know the sport enough. I don't know if he just missed the target. I don't know enough to say. I just know that if you're the Stars and he gets a look at it with 5 seconds, that's as good as you can hope for. I think, did Edmonton have 10 shots? They didn't have a lot of shots.
I saw one stat where they had one more than Robertson.
Well, they got 2 that went in.
Oh.
And I think you're going to hear a lot of conversation about how far these places, I get it. Mm-hmm. Guess we don't have to go, so I'm good. I'm going to be watching in the same place for all the games, either on my couch or at work. So I'm set. And you're going to also hear, the ratings aren't going to be good. The executives are like, I don't give a shit what the ratings are.
I don't either.
All I want are great games. We're going to come on after games. And look, obviously for us, if the ratings are good, it's better. But if the games are great, that's the best. And I think for the sport, I think this is the most compelling matchup you can get. If you watch the Rangers-Florida series, Florida was fractionally better, but I think better.
Yeah.
Just if it's not for Shesterkin, Florida probably wins going away. Mm-hmm. They just have the Stars for the Rangers couldn't score, and they couldn't score on the power play. They had one power play goal in the whole series. which is one more than the Stars had in their series against Edmonton. And Edmonton, obviously, you've got not just McDavid, who that first goal is just sorcery, but Draisaitl is a wizard. Hyman scores a zillion goals.
Yep.
I'm not going to try to tell you about what kind of set pieces they run. I don't get it. Just pucks on net, sticks to pucks. Shout out to Callie. But I find this the most compelling sort of matchup, and it's great for the sport that you get McDavid at the age of 27 on this stage. That's what the sport wants. Its most compelling player that everybody, even casual observers, know is that guy on this stage with a chance to get his mitts on the cup.
Yeah, different storylines, but I liken it to, we actually did a bunch on this on the pod a couple years ago when we got Bucks Suns in the NBA Finals. Oh, the ratings. We don't care. You had one of the best players in the world going against a guy that was trying to find his first title ever. And the series was incredible.
Yep.
That thing was awesome. Giannis ends up going for 50, makes all his foul shots. Like, you couldn't have anything more in a series. And now for a hockey fan, yeah, Panthers, you can make fun of being in Florida. Well, hey, last I checked, the Eastern Conference, teams from Florida have done really well in hockey.
Yeah,
between Tampa and Florida.
Yeah, Lightning have done all right.
Two of the best. And now, you talk about the distance from Edmonton. No one in that series cares a thing about that.
We got
and
planes.
I don't either.
We got planes.
Yeah.
We just make sure you got juice on your devices. Watch Oppenheimer maybe twice. I think that could get you from Edmonton to South Florida.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think it's like 5.5 hours. I was looking at it.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, I think it's more than that.
No, because it's not Vancouver.
I understand that.
That would be the farthest.
Right, but they lost.
But then planes they can move.
Right. Just get up at 40,000. I go back to the beginning of the year. Edmonton was 2-9-1 on November the 9th. They fired their coach. But I'll be honest, I kind of lost track of what happened after that. In a month, they were over 500.
There you go.
In a real quick hurry, they turned things around because they got McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Bouchard, etc. But they were down in this series 2-1 and down 2-0 on home ice in Game 4. And then there were 12 goals scored the remainder of that series. They scored 10 of them. They scored 5 in a row to even it up. They scored the first 3 to get Game 5 on the road, gave up 1 late. Then they scored the first 2 last night on not many shots, give up 1 late. And then the mayhem at the end. Dallas was awesome. How about Skinner, right? Like, this was a weakness for them for years. Like, if you told me they're going to score 2 on that few of shots, in the past, I guess they lost 7-2. Instead, they win 2-1. And I don't give a rat's patoot who wins, other than to say this. If McDavid wins, I'll be psyched for him because he's awesome. But I'm rooting for Paul Maurice just because I love him. He's going to be on SportsCenter. I think that we're taping this on a Monday. I believe it'll be Monday. I'm just interested in speaking to him because I find him such a interesting soundbite. He's thoughtful. And he's.
Are you getting into the forecheck?
I'm going to ask him a little bit about that. No, I don't. I won't embarrass myself with a lack of understanding. But I think there is an understanding of, and I heard some of the guys from the Panthers after they beat the Rangers talk about. Look, we know what to expect this time. We know what stuff feels like. I don't think you can quantify that accurately, right? Being familiar with what this feels like. You're going to deal with that with Boston and Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Boston is going to be able to lean into. All right, do you freak out? Does it feel different? Or when you throw the ball up, is it still just hoops? Like, right, once you drop the puck, is it just hockey? It has to be. Nothing changes except that prize, at some point, that thing's in the building. Like, neither side touched the trophy when they won.
And made it known.
I love that. And I'm going to ask him about that because I always say I'm not superstitious, but I'm not superstitious. And I'm pretty sure he told them before he then went out there.
Oh yeah,
and
told him on the bench.
Given his propensity for profanity, I'm pretty sure he said, "Don't touch that trophy," and they didn't. And Edmonton didn't either. No, thank you. We want to get our mitts on the big one.
Yep. And speaking of the big one, I always laugh because now it's making the rounds everywhere, right? ESPN games, we brought it around, and I'll never forget being in the radio studio. And Russillo and you doing the radio show, and they bring it in, they put it right on the desk. Coach Melrose is in the studio.
Wouldn't look at it.
Walks out.
Yep.
Walks out of the room. And I was like, what the heck? And social media now, you see the cup, what do? You take a picture with the cup. If you haven't won it, you don't deserve a pick. That was the quote from him. And you could just see he got very rarely ever was Coach Melrose frazzled. And that just put him in an uncomfortable spot. You never see him like that. And it was very telling, and I'll never take a picture with the cup.
And to be fair to him, puck maybe, cup no. We didn't know.
I know.
We never. Had I known that, we would never have put him in a position where it's almost like somebody bringing your ex-girlfriend around or a girl that you hope to date, and now she's married to some other guy. And now you got to sit there at a dinner party and make nice.
Brutal.
Could we not do this? Could I not sit here with that? We were close to getting our name on that, and now we didn't.
Yeah.
And that's just why we always talk about it this time of year. And as long as we do this, you're going to hear the same refrain. If you grow tired of it, I'm sorry, but it's just what you're willing to go through to get your name on that. Those ads, they're running the ones now about when a dream becomes reality, and you see the looks on those faces. Messier jumping, Crosby, all these different guys, the Bork, like that. Just the absolute release of I don't have to spend the rest of my life wondering what it would have felt like. Mm-hmm. Now I know.
In hockey, in more sense
awesome.
than any other, those guys know what those guys went through.
No doubt.
And there's a common, I think, 100% respect across it all that I don't feel when I watch other sports. And I think it's a lot because there's a lot less egos, but it's fantastic.
Look at the handshake line at the end. I always watch it, and dudes do the same thing. It's the shake, and then there's the pat. There's the shake and the pat.
And then the goalies go half hug.
Some guys will go full hugs. Maybe we played together somewhere. There's nothing corny about it because it's the absolute most sincere, other than Cicerelli, I can't believe I shook his bleeping hand.
Yeah.
I mean, but even then, when you would have rather hit the guy in the face with a sledgehammer, Avs Red Wings rivalry, you swallow it and you shake hands, man. It's just awesome.
I also think about how many times I would fall down in the handshake line. Like, I got a better chance of just, like, how they step on the ice and they just go. I got a chance to make it across the ice better than I do not falling 45 times in a handshake line. That's got to be impossible.
Well, I mean, they can skate.
For a person that doesn't.
I understand, but for two guys that we've covered now, we don't skate.
Respect.
Shout out. Stick tap. Edmonton, Florida. Who's the best player in the NBA Finals? If we have a draft.
Luka.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Who's the second best player in the series?
Probably Tatum.
See, the Tatum-Brown conversation is interesting. I saw Gilbert Arenas and their pod. They're going back and forth about how Jaylen Brown's is option number one. Well, that's because Tatum draws so much.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a 1A in Brown that is capable of dropping a 40-piece. I'm interested in the same way I'm interested in McDavid on this stage. I'm interested in Luka on this stage. Is Luka McDavid? No, he wasn't seen as that, but he's becoming one of. Mm-hmm. It's a short list of people that you could just say, that dude right there, Luka's that guy. He fascinates me because in a game that's played with such pace and such athleticism, you can't slow him down because he's already slowed down. That's what I find just.
And no one takes the ball from him.
You know why? Because he's got an ass like a Montana mule. And he's strong as an ox, and he's enormous. He's at least 6'8", 6'9". He's one of those guys like Durant. I don't know what his real height is, but I see him standing side by side with dudes that are listed taller. He's as big as they are, and he's thick.
Yeah.
No one ever picks him. Just takes his time. And then you try to jump it, and then it's a lob to one of these guys. He was so good in that closeout first quarter. It was mind-boggling. We talked to Kyrie afterwards, and could see that level of mutual respect. Kyrie going back to Boston. I thought his conversation with us was interesting. Whether you feel like he's playing a game with the media, some redemption tour or whatever, I mean, he spoke honestly and openly about, like, when I was there, I was young, I wasn't ready for a lot of stuff, went through a lot of stuff, lost people. He said, quote, I unpacked it in a healthy way, and I'm ready to go back to Boston. Like, that'll be its own sort of the subplot of Kyrie in Boston. I just think for the league, what'd you say you wanted at the beginning? New blood.
New blood. Fresh faces.
We got it.
Absolutely.
I think that Boston can lean into what Florida can lean into in the Stanley Cup Final, which is the familiarity. I also think that just if we list how many people are on each team could score 25 points in a game, Boston's got more of them.
Yeah.
Just because you get to White as a third option, and it's like, maybe Porzingis comes back. That's the ultimate wild card. Here's a guy that's capable of hanging big numbers.
He's the only guy that hasn't played in the finals, too, for Boston.
Right. Well, and they haven't had him since, that the way he reacted, I thought he tore his Achilles, popped a calf. But, I mean, as it is, I don't even know that you can count on him for anything, but who knows? If he comes back and is capable of giving you a solid double-figure scoring night, I mean, that's just another, here's a nice little extra piece. I think Boston should be favored, but like the number they were on ESPN bet the first night, I'm like, what?
It hasn't moved much either. I can't believe how big of an underdog. It's got to be in the top 2, 3 in since I've been watching. It has to be. Like it comes up every year now, and I still go back because I remember it because I had the Heat. The Thunder and Heat. The Thunder were favored in that series. That's still one of the most amazing things to me ever.
They were?
Yep.
I don't remember that.
Yep.
If Dallas wins, it'll be hard for us to remember in some period of time that Boston was a minus 220. I mean, that's just and because if you're familiar with how we do things, or at least how I always view things, it's like, wait, this seems fairly evenly matched, and so-and-so's given 12.5 points in a football game. You're like, you got to lay them just on principle. It just feels like the proverbial they're begging you to take Dallas.
Yeah.
I don't know why I would want a whole lot of exposure if I were Dallas, other than to say that Boston all year long has been what they've been in the playoffs. They've been demonstrably the best team. They've had the highest scoring average. They've been up. What was the stat we had on SportsCenter? They've been ahead by 20 or more in more than half their games this year. Not just ahead double digits, ahead 20 or more. They've dump truck teams all year long.
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't all year long. This is best of 7 against a Dallas team that just went through the West. Didn't have to play Denver, but they beat the team that beat Denver.
That's what I was saying. It doesn't make sense when you look at the roads. Everybody's favorite narrative of the Celtics is every best player got hurt in the series that they were playing, and then you come out with that series price, and they're still more than 2-1 as a favorite, it's just nuts to me. I will admit, not being in Connecticut anymore, I feel like they're the least talked about team that has that kind of record. I think now they're like 76-20 through the whole season. And like I said, I'm not close to Boston anymore, but I definitely feel different, and I'm kind of fascinated of how we don't talk about how great they were through the year. I mean, we do NBA every Wednesday night, and
that's interesting.
It would be the growth of Tatum. How's Drew Holiday mixing in? And that was basically it. Porzingis was a great addition. You saw that right away. But him being with the Wizards, I kind of thought he was going to be good. I love the trade of them getting rid of Marcus Smart. I think you needed a change-up, and that identity definitely changed. I think Brad Stevens has done an unbelievable job of
I agree.
tweaking that whole thing.
But you're right that this is a league, and I think the answer to me is that this league traffics more in off-floor storylines than any other sport.
Mm-hmm.
Although the WNBA is now joining that discussion. We'll get to that. But so much of this league is about star players. Are they happy where they are? Do they wish to be somewhere else? Star players that leave to go someplace, create these teams. The fact that the 10s in the West and the play-ins in the West throughout the year, the Lakers and the Warriors, they suck up a lot of oxygen in the room. There's the MVP conversation, and then all that comes with that, and should Luka be this or that? And then there's the young stars that are on the rise, Anthony Edwards. I mean, Boston is largely a known entity at this point. And the conversation around them was, can you really pay Brown and Tatum? You can't do that because they've hit their ceiling. Like, you can't? And then you let them go? Are you closer to being what you want to be if you do that? How? No, you're not. This is the league. This is what it is. If you've got a max player, you're going to have to suck it up and pay him that dough and then hope you can get there. And Boston stayed the course. Drew is a huge piece. Porzingis, you made the points about the acquisitions. I don't want to say that they were boring because they're not. Great's never boring. It was just more known. I think we sort of knew what they were. And then these other pieces were like, the Bucks fire their coach. You've got a great record. There's the injury to Embiid. The other great teams, as I said, in the West that are falling back. It's just there were storylines that people talked more about. And that's just because I guess we get bored easily, and that's on us.
Yeah, no doubt. And I also feel like there's a point where teams, I'm not judging them until they go to the playoffs and what they do. And the Celtics have reached that for me. I feel like it's the Dodgers in baseball.
That's a good one.
Put the Braves in there.
That's a good one.
Put the Yankees in there.
Doesn't matter what they are in the regular season because we know you're going to get.
It doesn't.
And then ultimately, it's like James Harden in the playoffs, right? You can be whatever you are in the regular season. At some point, you're going to get to the playoffs, and then you got to be more than you've been, or otherwise we're just going to kind of shrug and go, "Oh, you did that again."
Mm-hmm.
And then we're the bad guys when we go, "See, here's what he did." And then Boston, if they come up short again, then they're in that place where it's if they don't win, then people are going to say that they've failed. I don't think that's accurate. They've been great all year, but they failed to get the thing that they set out to do, which was their 18th banner, which breaks a tie with LA.
And I will say I will be more surprised if the Celtics win than if the Mavs win. I have the Mavs for the series.
The last two series, I kept saying I'm looking at Dallas, right?
I know.
I'm looking at Boston.
Okay.
I'm looking at Boston. I believe the depth of scoring option, you got to have that Chris Middleton goes for 40 game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Giannis, you're going to do your thing. Somebody else, and then who's that somebody else from Dallas? If Kyrie and Luka both get big numbers, which I believe they will, is it Washington? Is he the guy that's going to do it? I just don't know how far down the line we can go. And if Luka and Kyrie both get 36, and that adds up to 72, you might not need more than about 40 more points from the rest of your group. That's what they got in the closeout at Minnesota. I think Boston is who they've demonstrated they've been all year. I believe that. And you have Dallas for the series.
I do.
I can't argue. They do have the best player in this series. Imagine going back to when Luka was. Remember when Schmidt would come on and we'd the guy was in he was in a gym, in Romania. Dude smoking cloves, like a thick a marine layer just above the top of the court.
I remember one time I was like, Schmidt, can you turn the lights on in the arena? And he's like, they are on. I'm like, okay. Tells you a little musty. It's
just wild to go back and look at what people had to say about a kid who was a kid at the time. He was pro when he was,
Porzingis too.
But
a lot of the same stuff.
I agree, but Luke is different.
Oh, he's exceeded it for sure.
He's that guy. And that's what's so interesting to me. If McDavid wins, then he's got one, and the rest of his career, no one can talk to him. It's like Ovechkin. Like you get the one, and no one gets to make fun of you ever again.
Yep.
Luka, if he got one at 25, that puts him on a trajectory that's just like all time stuff is in front of him. You don't, and then it's hard to get here, man.
Yeah.
When you do, you got to win. That's what I'm in. When I talk to Coach Maurice, I'm interested in just the idea of. It's so hard to win one of these Stanley Cup games, and your team's won 12 2 years in a row. But that's not the finish line. So I don't know how do you weigh satisfaction with look what we've already done. I guess if you're trying to climb Everest, you don't look at base camp. You're looking at the top of the hill. I didn't come this far to come this far, and that's a powerful thought. It's just hard as shit to get to the top of the mountain. We talked about 8-year-old birthday parties at the start. Your young girls love women's college hoop. Massive consumers of the college game, or are they just consumers of one specific player and team because they like the color purple and LSU wore purple? Is that how they became?
Mike the Tiger is mainly to blame. It was my oldest first stuffed animal I brought home from a game day trip, and ever since then, she still sleeps with Mike the Tiger. And I don't know what we're going to do when he loses a leg because he's hanging on.
LSU folks, we need a backup Mike the Tiger stat.
But it's carried over. It's LSU's playing in baseball this week in Chapel Hill. Oh my God, LSU's on. Let's watch LSU. Oh my God, they got yellow jerseys now too. I like the purple better. The grays are pretty good. But when it comes to college hoops, they were fascinated 2 years ago with the run of LSU. And I think them shooting lights out against Caitlin Clark in the final had something to do with the more enthusiasm, seeing them win when everybody else was talking about Caitlin Clark and seemed to be rooting for Caitlin Clark. And that's why my daughters have taken on Angel Reese. They are not South Carolina women's fans because they knocked out LSU in the SEC tournament this year. So on draft night, when Cardoso and Angel Reese went to the same team, there was a look of confusion and
that's interesting.
What are we going to do here? And they have taken on. They are Sky fans now because of Angel Reese, hoping to go see him play Thursday night. Waiting on word on that, but they are, yes, okay. LSU to Angel Reese. Now, this is their first taste of the WNBA.
Okay.
Because it's taken them there where the players they know now from college are there.
But see, all of that, I think, is an instructive sort of lens that you have in your household on how that product is consumed. These are young girls who are in the mix, love sports, playing a little bit of everything, and Angels is their favorite player. Okay. So Angel and Caitlin have had quite a history, which goes back to the finals. 2 years ago, they had a chance for Iowa to have its redemptive arc. Caitlin gets her revenge. They are able to get to the finals, but there's that South Carolina team out there.
Yep.
Shout out to Dawn Stanley and her undefeated team.
No doubt.
They were great. The whole thing with the you can't see me, and then, well, we don't dislike each other and whatever. I think that it's okay to have healthy rivalries and not like each other and not be best friends. That's at the core of competition. We're not playing, we're competing. At the end of this, do we have to go out and be friends? No. And I think it's pretty clear they're not, right? That's okay.
Yeah.
That's competition. It's always has been. But what happens this weekend is in a game with Chicago and Indiana, Caitlin gets knocked down by Kennedy Carter, and it turns into a whole gigantic thing, which is on the heels of weeks of all of these think pieces about how Caitlin is. Why is the league jealous of her? It's all of these components, whether it's race, whether it's sexual orientation, it's all these things, and I'd be out of my depth to try to comment on that. I'm just an observer of competition, and I go back to the night that Diana came on with us, and she was going off about when Caitlin came into the league, and I'm laughing because every star player that is an old head says this about whoever's coming next, because that's just the way competitors are wired, to be like, you better get ready, better tie him up, better tape those ankles, because we're coming for you. The same way MJ did it for Kobe. The same exact way, and they only do it for star players. So to me, I laugh because I find it funny that that's how people are. And now Caitlin has had some great games and exceeded, like the first player in 10 games to do this, this, and this, and this. That's because she's awesome. Well, yesterday, this was the game after the game against Chicago, she had 3 points, 1 of 10 shooting, because they've run the fever into the ground, which is a story that I'll get to in a second. I'm just trying to come back to what I think is in play with all of this. There's a resentment, I think, among those who've been in the league that, like, Caitlin came and invented a league. And there's players that are like, look, there've been plenty of stars before you. And the difference, in my opinion, is that, like, with MJ and Kobe, is everybody knew MJ, and he made the NBA something Bird and Magic sort of brought the NBA back from beyond. Mm-hmm. And then Jordan took it to this whole other level. So when Kobe showed up, it was already this thing. Well, Caitlin arrives, and there's no argument that she's bringing eyeballs that are unprecedented. Attention, that's unprecedented. Mm-hmm. That's not an opinion. That's an objective fact. Mm-hmm. We've never had a higher-rated basketball game as a network. Basketball, men's, women's, nothing. Pro college than this. And so there's this pushback from, I think, many of the rank and file. They're like, we don't miss me with this, okay? Because and so she's wearing a bullseye. Mm-hmm. She's wearing a target, and people are going after her. And I think what you saw from Carter was like a flashpoint where you're like, this doesn't work, because now you do have all this attention, and so now you have everybody kind of saying, what are we going to do? And by we, I mean, what's the league going to do? What's Indiana going to do? And I don't know the answer. I just know that the league, you benefit from all this attention that you've not had to this level. And now with that attention comes a scrutiny where people are going to ask you, what are you prepared to do about all this? Mm-hmm. I saw people say that Indiana needs to go get an enforcer. I don't know, is to go to the enforcer store? I don't know what that's supposed to be. But I find the amount of conversation to be a net positive because people are paying attention. But again, that scrutiny requires some sort of. But what's the? I'm like this pregnant pause I'm filling with what's the action? Like, I don't think Carter's supposed to be suspended.
No,
it was a hard foul. It was competitive. It was a competitor being competitive, and there's a lot there with her. She was a top 5 pick, who's been through it. Was suspended for conduct detrimental when she was in Atlanta, got traded to the Sparks, got cut, left the country, came back. Like, this is a talented player. Mm-hmm. But there's probably an edge there, given all she's gone through, that's fueled by like, hey, man, like, you can miss me with all this stuff. Like, you're wearing a bullseye. Well, guess what? I'm coming for the bullseye. That's competitors. That's men's. That's not men's or women's. That's just sport. And now all these eyes are on it in a different way, and it just leads to all of this tonnage of what should happen. I don't think anything's supposed to happen to Carter, other than I think that was a flagrant foul and should have been adjudicated or whatever, or ruled as such. But I don't know what people want to happen here, because the league's not just going to say, we are so happy she's here and we owe her everything, because I don't think people view it that way. That's not what competitors are ever going to say, even though the league does benefit from her being here.
Couple things.
Please.
It's taken a couple weeks, but they've already gotten to the NBA level.
That's the larger point.
And we just talked for a good couple minutes. I do want to mention the most important thing that no one talks about. The Fever won. The Fever won the game. No one has mentioned that. They just talk about the incident.
No, and they make the point that Angel was celebrating with Carter afterwards because I don't think she likes Caitlin. That's fine. They don't have to be best friends.
And that's the other thing. You could say you don't dislike somebody. It doesn't mean you like them. It's listen when people say that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's when people say, I don't disagree. I was like, well, do you agree?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it's I find it very interesting how they go about this. Also, Angel gets fined $1,000.
She got pulled down.
Yeah. Also, maybe Caitlin flopped a little.
I agree with that. She plays with plenty of edge. And there was the play before where maybe she threw an elbow and I'm like, I don't know how much needed to be. But this is Carter who's like, all right, that's what we're doing. Well, but she went out of her way. There's no excusing what she did.
Oh, no doubt.
Like, but this to the point you're just making. What is the NBA largely trafficking?
We were just talking about before.
Boston wasn't talked about as much this year because what captivates people's attention is the drama. And the difference here, the most obvious one, is race. And it's the white girl from college. And you know the last white NBA player that was a college American to go number 1 in the NBA draft? Kent Benson, 1977.
Wow.
You know what happened to Kent Benson in his first NBA game? This is before your time.
Yeah, it is. I was born in 77.
2 minutes into the game, He played for Indiana. They were unbeaten, went number 1 to Milwaukee. Benson's welcome to the NBA. 2 minutes in, he elbows Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem punches him in the eye, swells his eye shut. Jabbar broke his hand on Benson's head. That was his welcome to the NBA. I can only imagine if that happened in 2024 with all of the accelerants of social media to talk about what was in play here. Well, there was Kareem in Milwaukee, which was kind of interesting. Now he's in L.A., and he elbowed him. Mm-hmm. So Kareem thought about it. Google it. And he wails him in the face. The racial component has led to all these different pieces. And I read them, and I don't agree with people that say, they don't dislike her. I don't think they like her. Mm-hmm. I don't think they like all the attention. I think they resent the attention that she got, particularly if you're in a pro game and you're like, she's a college player and she was really good and scored a lot of points but didn't win a title. Well, that's because South Carolina was awesome. But Carter's on social media saying, like, what does she do other than make threes? Come on. Mm. This is where it's like the NBA. Yeah. This is where you get NBA attention, NBA levels of petty, and this is where it's very similar. Mm-hmm. Very similar. And the net is this not a bad thing if you're a league that wants attention.
Oh, you got that.
But you got to figure out, you have to figure, like, the pettiness and the squabbles and the beefs. All right. But I think you have to be, as a league, the WNBA, just cognizant of the fact that there's this perception that she now wears this bullseye for jealousy or whatever. Okay. But then it can't reach a point where it's physical in the way that it was the other day. Although, again, Angel got dragged to the ground, and she's like, hey, I want him to come after me, right? Mm-hmm. This is a bunch of conversation about the WNBA, which is something we haven't done before.
No.
A positive for the league in a sense? I think absolutely. I think another positive for the league would be if you take the player that you draft number 1 and don't say, hey, we're going to make you play 11 games in 20 days on a team that's not great. They played 11 games in 20 days.
How many of the Aces played?
6. So nearly twice as many games in that window. What are we doing from a scheduling standpoint?
Yeah.
They're not good, by the way. They're a young team that's not very good. Mm. So you end up with Caitlin scoring 3 points on 1 of 10 because she's freaking exhausted, as is not just her whole team. And they're playing a New York team who's got way more talent. They crushed them. And we're talking on the money. This was Sunday, I believe. Yeah, that was the most recent game.
Yeah, the scheduling thing I don't understand because last week on Memorial Day Monday, I'm like, all right, girls are home. I figure there'll be like a quadruple header. WNBA, I remember when it started on Memorial Day. And there wasn't one game. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. You're trying to get more attention and you don't have one game on Memorial Day. And then when you look at the schedule that they're putting these teams through, and obviously all the talk about the travel, it just seemed like a big miss to me. But the unbalance of schedule, that's insane to me. I will admit, Sky come to the district Thursday night, and then the Fever come Friday night. So everybody in this area will have their will be able to voice their opinions and see what they take. Because like I said, going back to the girls, watching the Sky, Teresa Witherspoon's the coach. You know what she coached in the NBA. Rebecca Lobo was talking about her on the broadcast on the game Saturday about how the tenacity. She is a tenacious person in everything she does. And the first game I watched this year with the Sky, you saw it. They play with a serious edge, and that comes from their head coach, Angel, that the team has responded. You could see she's the leader of that team. So it's not the bad boys of the 90s with the Pistons,
no, but
there is an attitude that I don't think this league has seen because of this bravado that has come with Angel and Teresa. So it's a different aspect, whereas Indiana, it's like, yeah, we got the number 1 pick. We're going to go to all the games. We're going to play in the Pacers arena. It's like this happy-go-lucky thing. And when you get between the lines...
Well, there's a physicality that has existed in this league
no doubt.
that has long preceded Clark. Yeah. But again, now there's this level of attention. And it brings a lot of casual eyeballs to that. Like, I don't know what you think. If you think it's because it's women that means that they're not going to be physical and compete, because if that's what you think, well, you're just not. It's not what this is. Mm-hmm. This is competition, and it's a physical sport that requires physicality, just not to the level of what happened, I think, to Reese and what happened to Clark the other day. And the league back in the day, the NBA didn't take, they were going to they're going to put a target on Kobe, and the league clearly, I think, is going to put a target on this young group of it's not just Clark, because Reese got a ton of eyeballs and a ton of attention coming in. You could go. There's more than just that. Hey, look, Cardozo didn't lose a game at South Carolina. She's now with Reese in Chicago, as you say. Go ahead.
One other thing. Good luck to the men and women with the whistles. Good luck. That's some shoes I would not want to be in.
A lot of complaining.
Oh man!
Well, and that's
just that.
By the way, that's
the idea of that's part of the game also. But just the scrutiny they're going to get now. Those people live off and do their job just to go do their job and be out of everything. They are going to be on a first name basis now.
And that's like the NBA is as well, because all anybody does in the NBA, complain about every call.
In every facet, they have reached that level.
Yeah. Well, maybe we don't play 11 games in 20 days. Seems kind of like a lot.
It's a good start.
Seems kind of like a lot to ask.
What else you got?
A very hard left-hand turn. If you eat Life cereal, are you an old?
Man.
I think you are.
Then I'm old.
We're old. I'm
not as old as you, but this is the first time I'm starting to think. I thought you were old once you got past 50. Not there yet.
Let me tell you, buddy, when you get there, you're going to realize nothing changes other than that your number starts with a 5, and you're still going to want to smash Life cereal.
Yeah.
But here's the question. The answer is yes, you're an old. Put it this way. If you put Life cereal...
so good.
That's right. If you put Life cereal on your breakfast table, your kids would look at it and do what?
Oh, I got them in.
They eat it?
Yeah, they're eating it.
If Life is available in any other of the options...
Oh, God. Every other option's getting taken.
Right. They're eating it just because they're hungry, and that's all there is.
The only reason we have is because I do the grocery shopping.
And you like Life cereal. Cinnamon or
with
regular?
Milk.
Okay, we're going to get to that. Here's the question.
Regular.
Agreed. Here's the question for the group. Is Life cereal better when you put the milk on in that first 10 seconds where it's still that super crispy, sugary, crunchy consistency? And I am not a milk and cereal guy because I'm a mutant. I don't like milk and cereal. I just eat it dry out of the box. Again, can't explain it. It's just what I do. But I do like Life cereal with milk. Better in the initial 10 seconds, still crunchy, still sugary, or after it sat there in the milk for about a minute and it just is the consistency of a wet sock.
I'm gross on this one. I like the wet sock, soggy Life. It's so good. I know why you don't like it. Because it's your most hated word. Moist.
I'd say that you're right, but it's a consistency issue for me. I'm a consistency person. If I don't like sushi because I don't like the consistency. Love fish, just cook it. Don't like the consistency of it. It's like a fish gummy bear. No, thank you. That's how I feel about
we gotta
sushi.
Get you eating some more sushi.
No, I won't. I don't. I'm grown. My age starts with a 5. I'm not eating it now. Had my chance, passed. The consistency of the soggy Life to me is that's why you can't cook asparagus too long. I don't want it to be crunchy, but if you hold it and that thing...
How about carrots?
You can miss me with carrots entirely.
Really?
Hate them.
Okay.
Hate them. When they're out of the refrigerator, you can't chew them enough for the pieces not to get stuck in your throat. Am I
Did
right?
your mom tell you when you were little it would help you with your vision?
Of course she did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool.
That doesn't work.
You see my glasses, right? I'm just saying that the crunchy part of Life I really like a lot, and the soggy part of Life I'm not. I just throw it away.
Okay. But you put milk on your Life because what's the other one? You eat honey wheat?
Golden Grams. Golden Grams dry.
What about frosted mini wheats? Don't you pop those too?
That's a shout out to our guy Madry, part of our golf group. Hashtag bib up. Somewhere along the way at one of the houses we went to, Andy North, because he's a geezer, had frosted mini wheats. And I just started eating them because they were crunchy and sweet. And it was seemed like it was better than a cookie. But probably a whole box maybe isn't. But I think I ate a whole box of it. And so for some reason, he just decided when I would show up at these events, he would just make sure I had it. At no point in the rest of the year do I eat frosted mini wheats other than when we go to the Masters and we go to the PGA. But during those weeks, every morning, annihilating handfuls of it dry. And that is a cereal that is, you really could use some milk.
Yeah.
Because it's dry.
They're not grape nuts hard, but they're hard.
Nothing's harder than grape nuts.
Nothing in the world.
But you're right that the frosted mini wheats it's a harder cereal and could use some milk. All right, this was cereal talk.
All right, I got one for
from two old guys. All right, get us out of here on a good one.
It's wedding season.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right.
Go on the gram, see everybody getting married. Rob Gomm just got married. Shout out, Rob. Sorry about the Rangers.
Yeah, he was.
I guess that buzzer never. Oh no, it went off late, but it was already 2-0. Never mind. That's inside the beltway. Just some advice for the men in wedding season. Like what I always think about, and whenever somebody asks me, there's a couple things I always say. Let the bride do what she wants. It's her day, right? You're up on the altar, wherever the ceremony is.
No one cares about you.
No one's looking at you.
No, you could be nude.
No one.
Don't be nude, but you could be.
She wants extra flowers. She wants extra photographer, whatever, with her. Let her do it. Figure it out after.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And then the other thing I always say is it's the fastest day of your life.
No question.
It is amazing how fast. And I debated. I went and golfed with my guys. I had a bunch from college and high school, and we all got together. And I was really glad we did. We got up early. I think we teed off at like 8 or 9 a.m. And I was really glad because I just went around and played with it, and it was like I got time with my guys. And then because once you got to get in the mode of getting dressed, like that's an ordeal. Then you got the bus or the limo, whoever's picking you up, and you got to be there earlier because the bride is going. It's just lightning speed. And then the reception, if you're lucky enough to have as many people that you want to be there, I always say I didn't eat at my wedding because we did our thing, and I immediately went to tables to try and say thank you, and I wanted a time with everybody. And then I looked up, and my buddies are spilling glasses on the dance floor, and it's like 10 o'clock already. And, you do your dance with your mom if that's what you do, if she's around. I was lucky enough to do that. She dances with her father. But the idea of how fast it goes, I can't explain to these people. So if you have, I would suggest having a plan.
Have a plan.
Have a plan.
Eat.
I would eat before. What I didn't mention is I made all the scallops and bacon come to the groom's suite before, and those were gone.
So if you went to Steve's wedding, you're like, I was under the impression it'd be scallops and bacon. No,
they were all in my suite.
The big man ate them all.
That's what I ate.
That's fine.
But how fast it goes, right?
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly it goes. Unsurprisingly, I'll give you one little sentimental shout. At some point in the middle, if you pull yourself to the side with just you and your bride, or ladies, you and your husband, just pull yourself off to the side because you're going to do what Steve's saying. Make the rounds, make sure everybody knows you appreciate you being there. But here's my point. At no time in the rest of your life, and this was a fact certainly with us, at no time ever again will all those people be in the same place, and all of them are there for you. Maybe you're not comfortable being the center of attention, and neither me or my wife love that. Like I like being on the fringes and supporting others rather than everyone's there for you, but because it makes you feel uncomfortable. Let people love you, let people hug you, be the center of attention, and look around and just be grateful for all those people that are there because they were with you from the jump. Maybe they're your boys you met along the way, but these are the people of your life. These are the people that are the characters in the book that's the story of your life, and they're all there for you. And if you don't eat, you're going to be obliterated and not even know that they're there. So don't do that. Eat a little, but take a minute to look around the room and just take a snapshot in your brain because it's a cool thing to think about later that everybody came there to say, we got your back.
Have you been to a wedding where it was because of work? Like seeing work people in a different atmosphere. Have you?
You mean like 9 Bombay gins in?
Yes.
Yeah, it gets
That's
sketchy.
Scary.
Yeah, man.
It really is.
It's like back in the day of Christmas parties, although no one does them anymore.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, things got
whoa.
Yeah.
Julie likes the Tito's and soda, huh?
Huh? That gal from HR. Wow. Who's that guy? I didn't know. I didn't even know she got down like that. That's her guy?
Oh, man.
How about it? It's good. It's good. Wedding season, I guess.
Yes.
We did ours in the fall, which is very frowned upon, but it was a bye week for my bride's school, which is, that's how.
I'm sure you didn't get any hassle from your guys about that.
Maryland was not going to bowl games at that point in time, so nobody was that put off.
Mm-hmm.
So, but wedding season, there you go.
Yeah. 2 other things.
All right.
Before we go. Let's say we have a mutual friend, Roberto.
Okay.
He says he's going on a 14-mile bike ride. But before bike ride, it says electric. What kind of workout is that?
You're on a moped.
Right?
You're riding a Vespa. Wee, like the guys in Rome we talked about.
It's not a workout.
No. Here's Roberto's full of shit that you're riding a moped. If you want to get on your moped and ride from Dewey down to Bethany and back, well, have fun on that road trying not to get hit by a bunch of Suburbans. But that's not a workout. They're claiming it's a workout. Come on.
Yeah, right?
It's a scooter ride.
You had a helmet on.
Right, you're riding a scooter. That's
not a workout.
Maybe can pedal some, but if the option is to just hit the wee button, then that's not a ride. You're not okay. Not a workout.
Not a workout.
That's my ruling.
All right. Obviously, I've loved all the college baseball and softball this week. Shout out Stanford, still alive. Probably won't be by the time this pod comes out.
You don't know that.
There was the good stuff is Southeast Missouri beat Arkansas in the regional.
Okay.
And Southeast Missouri's head coach, Andy Sawyer, played for the Arkansas head coach, Dave Van Horn. And they asked him about beating him in the press conference. And he started, getting emotional.
Love emotion.
And they said, what was the conversation in the handshake line? And he said, Coach, I just want you to know I do something every day because of you and something that you taught me. And you think about, it just started to make me think about my coaches when I was young. And, I still talk to my high school coaches. I went back and coached in that. But the little things that you remember. And it just came full circle with I can't imagine coaching against the guy that coached me. Here you are and you're the underdog. You're going to their building. It's Fayetteville. That place is nuts. And the mindset of that, for a whole week, this is going to happen. And then you do it. It had to be absolutely crazy. There's no way you're sleeping the night before, because in that aspect of coaching, you have the keys to the car, but you're not driving it. Your guys that you coached, who you learned from that guy over there, are in control whether or not you do it. I just thought it was absolutely amazing.
But what a moment
play out.
But what a moment to be able to tell your mentor.
No doubt.
Because there's no greater compliment that you could pay somebody.
Nothing.
If there's a teacher out there that showed you something that's a tenet of what you do day in and day out, that's part of why you're successful, there's a coach, in this case, the example you're giving, to be able to, and even obviously it would suck to lose, but to hear the student say that something you taught me is why I'm who I am, that's as real as it gets.
And you're on the same stage.
That's what I mean.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, it's really, look it up. It's out there. Andy Sawyer's. It's awesome. So I just wanted to get that in because that was one of the best things I saw all weekend, watching all the baseball as much as I could. So yeah.
Hat tip to Birmingham Southern, had a great run. It came to an end.
God, they played some wild games.
They did. Shout to Mitchell Gross, who
heard about him.
I think you should come up here and hang out for the summer. What are you doing? Probably playing baseball somewhere. Don't.
He's not coming north. Those guys don't come north. Why would you come north?
Actually, you don't want to hang out with a bunch of old guys riding electric bikes at the beach.
Eating life.
Eating soggy life. Yeah. Let me hustle right up there for that. All right, good talk. Worst ender of interviews and worst ender of podcasts in the business. This is the end of the podcast.